Hello everyone, and how are you today? We are back for another episode of the Wired for Success. So we haven't been back together, Steve and I. So today is our first time together, and I want to say formally Happy New Year, although it's the end of January. And our episode today is actually coming at the right time because I believe a few of our students, a few of our teens have been going through exams and are going to be on the exam trail this next quarter. So we wanted to talk about exam anxiety and how we can manage it as teens, or you can support teens to manage their anxiety, exam anxiety. So my name is Patience Modevi, and my colleague is Steve Costello, and we are the Wired for Success duo.
So, hi everybody. Like Patience said, it's been a while. It was before live together. All kinds of things have been happening, but such is life, eh? And in a sense, kind of such is exams too. But that sounds a little
Mhm.
bit flippant and throwaway, doesn't it? So,
Yeah.
what we're doing today is an introduction, really, and in the coming weeks, we're going to talk about some really good practical things that we can do to help with examination stress. So we've got to look at the picture as a whole. That this examination stress is coming from various places. It comes from what we're told at school by our teachers or by our university lecturers. You need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And if you don't do this, this, and this, you won't pass. That's stressful in itself. That's just one part of the whole picture. I remember when I was at school, okay, I'm going back a year or two, but I remember when I was at school and a particular teacher said, your exam results reflect on the school. I didn't need that, and neither did anybody else. We really didn't need that. We already had enough pressure. Pressure, if we don't get enough the results we're looking for, we're not going to get the job we're looking for or the university place we're looking for or whatever it happens to be. So there's all kinds of external pressures that are thrown at us before we even get into the exam system. And then we've got the psychological stuff. Will I cope? Am I good enough? The subject, there's all kinds of psychological questions can also interfere with that psychology. So if we have stresses at home, let's say somebody at home is sick, let's say they're chronically sick. So you know that all the time there's somebody at home who is sick who needs care and attention. And you may be one of the people who delivers that care and attention. That's stressful. That adds to the exam stress as well, because it begins to overload us. What happens when we get overloaded? We become stressed. What happens when we become stressed? One of the symptoms of stress, we lose our ability to think clearly. If we can't think clearly, then maybe our memory is going to be affected as well. So that gets really difficult. If our memory is affected, we have no chance.
Yeah.
And then we worry about it, and the circle starts all over again. So we need to look for ways out of that horrible loop, that circuit, because it doesn't serve anybody. It certainly doesn't serve us as individuals when we're in that exam system. So that's what one of the things we'll be doing in the next few weeks. We'll be looking at some of the psychological impacts and what we can do, because the good news is there's something we can do about everything if that's the route we choose. There are some choices involved. It may seem like we don't have any. What do you think, Patience?
We do. We have a lot of choices. First of all, everything will affect you. So, like Steve was just talking about, this a teacher who said the exam result will count towards the end of the note. And automatically everybody went like, ah, more stress, more pressure. But really and truly, they didn't maybe do it in a way that they wanted to create more pressure. They just wanted to remind maybe the student that this was going to happen. But when you really look at it, is how each student then take it on. And sometimes you are either more prone to being even more stressed or have more anxiety. And for some of the students, they are less prone to it. It all depends about how you can deal with the pressure, whether you are someone who is kind of like, because you have people who, teenagers, even teenagers, who can handle stress, who perform well under stress. And you have some who do not perform well under stress. And this is how you react, how you're gonna choose to maybe act after, and what you're gonna choose to put in place that is gonna help you develop more confidence, and maybe leave the anxiety on the side and actually be able to confront the exams head on, you know, in a positive manner.
Our behaviors and our lifestyles as well for a minute. So we've all got our little behaviors, that make up who and what we are. Some of
That's
those
true.
behaviors are helpful. Some of them might not be very helpful during the exam period or the exam system. So we need to think carefully about our behaviors. Are they conducive to doing well in exams? If we're staying up late every night and we've got to get up for school early in the morning, that's perhaps not such a good thing, is it?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we have to stop living either. So I had
Mhm.
this debate with my younger daughter. Sorry, Patience, did you want to come
No,
in?
I was just saying that
I
you're
had a
right.
debate with my youngest daughter. She likes to stay up late at night. Yeah, thanks. So she likes to stay up late at night, but she has to get up really early in the morning to get the school bus. So, in other words, the later she stays up, the shorter the period between going to sleep and getting up for the early school bus becomes. And when that period is short, she's not getting the amount of sleep she needs, which incidentally, for many adolescents, is recommended at about round about 9 hours. That's nine. That's a lot more than many people allow or give themselves. So if we're not getting enough sleep, what happens? That affects us. It affects our memory again, a little bit like the stress. All kinds of things are affected. So we'll look into our behaviors and our lifestyles and see what we can pick out and what we can change. We may need to change. This was part of the debate I had the other day. We may need to change things temporarily. It's not about changing things forever. It's not about not going out to quote, it's not about not going out to see your boyfriend ever again. It only feels like that, which was the interesting debate we had. It feels like I have no life. That was a comment from my daughter. Well, temporarily, you have a life that is more weighted towards school than it is towards going out with your friends and having a good time. So how do we manage all that stuff? It's not helpful for me as a parent to say, you're just going to have to suck it up and get on with it. What does that do? Is it helpful? How do you feel, Patience?
I don't think it's helpful in the sense that it's another pressure the teen is having. So in terms of like coming back to the teens, I believe that you're right. There's choices to be made, even though they're temporary. Sometimes we want everything, and that's human nature. We want all of it together. We don't want to have to wait for this and have that at this time, at this period of time. But also, what I would say in this sense is that in each level, and we are going to come to that when we speak about the parents' side, but basically, in each level, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the person who's dealing with it. And unfortunately, the way we as parents want to deal with it might not be the way that is going to be the best or the most efficient for the teens. So that's something to kind of be aware of. And I think for teenagers as well, it's good for them to voice their concern, to voice that this is how they feel. This is how they feel frustrated. This is how they feel stressed in that way. And this is how they're seeing it. The fact that Steve daughter was like, oh my God, this looks like it's forever, or this feels like it's forever. That was how she was feeling. And that feeling is as well as valid as it is for a parent to say, this is just temporary. Remember one thing, as a teenager, as a parent, the view is different from a teenager. So when you are a teenager and you're talking to your parent, remember that they're coming from another point of view. Their point of view is, well, I've gone through this, I've had this experience, and I feel you should have maybe this way, or you should do things this way. And for you as a teen, you'll be like, well, this is how I feel right now, and my feeling right now is overwhelming, and that's what's taking over the situation. And again, there's no exact right or wrong there. It's just finding that balance and putting these things in place. Another thing that I wanted to say in terms of practicality, even though we're gonna go in the subjects really little by little in other episodes, but I think one thing that really struck with me, especially with my son with his exams, is that just do one at a time. Just revise one at a time. Don't plan for everything all together. Put yourself into the idea that, you know what, I'm going to go through this exam. Tomorrow is math. I'm going to concentrate on this math. And don't try to over fill your mind with, oh my God, tomorrow there's also geography, and the day after there's science. Don't forget about that and just go maybe step by step. I think that would be something that could help in the short term. In the short term.
Yeah, brilliant. And one of the things that I've heard you've not, I didn't hear you use this particular word, patience, or there's actually three words. The first one is confidence. Many young people quote themselves by saying things like, I don't feel very confident in what I've got to do with this exam. I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good enough. I am not enough. They use all kinds of phrases. So here's a really quick story. This is from a client I worked with. And I worked with her because her parents asked me to. And she was coming up to A levels. So if you're in the UK, you know where I am. But if you're not in the UK, A levels are the period between 16 plus and about 18, give or take. Some people are younger, some are slightly older. So between 16 and 18 on average. So A levels are coming up, and this young woman said to me, "I'm predicted to get I can't remember exactly, but let's say three Bs and a C. She was taking four A levels. That was a prediction made by the teachers based on the work she did. They were predicting that. But for her, the prediction wasn't good enough because she wanted to do a very particular degree course that demanded she have at least two A's. So she had to get two A's. But she started to believe the prediction, and she believed that she couldn't do better. Therefore, her confidence was attacked, and
That's
her
fantastic.
confidence just wasn't enough. So we had to work on the ins and outs of all of that and to get her to understand and to change her mindset into a positive I can mindset. Now, this particular young woman was very bright indeed, but yet something hit her confidence to the point that she stopped believing. So, mindset is something that we will be talking about. It's something that is very, very important. If you have almost anything you put your mind to, if you have a, well, maybe I can, but I'm not really sure kind of mindset, what good is that? Is it going to help you? Is it going to
That's
serve
right.
you? I would argue, no, not really. So mindset, parents can help with that too, but parents are the other side of the picture, as it were. We're focused here on young people. So how are we doing on this, patients? Are we ready to get going next episode?
Yeah, so soon you will have more episodes. So stay tuned. Come back on the next week. And if you have a question regarding exam anxiety, send it to us so that we can develop it into an episode as well. That will be amazing. And we will see you on the other side for the parent, the parent podcast. Thank you so much for being here with us, and we will speak to you soon.